What is happening, people? Scarfy Spurs here, back with the weekly show. I'd like to start off this episode by apologising for my audio issues in the last episode where I was live from Corsica, France, and sound like I was inside a baked bean tin. So I do apologise for that. We are back, and I'm joined by a fantastic panel. Firstly, Billy, how you doing? Welcome back on the show.
Thank you very much, mate. Yeah, not the best. Started back at work today after 6 weeks off, and we lost. So not the best, but we crack on. We crack on.
We certainly do. But no, I think, we're used to that feeling the last season, especially towards the end. But here we go again. But it's great to have you on. Kallum, why did I ask you on? Well, I won't ask you that. How you been?
Yeah, no, I'm all right, mate. I've realised that the Wi-Fi signal around Lakeside is really poor to be watching the football on Now TV as I go along. But I caught it, so now you've made me go through this after I thought I avoided a podcast last night. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, exactly. I do apologise. Thank you very much for coming on, though. Justin, it's great to have you back on the show. How you been doing?
Well, mine's not as bad as Billy's. I've been off for 2 weeks and we lost. So, to be fair, yeah, I'm probably in a slightly not as bad a mood as he is, to be fair.
No, maybe not. But someone who is in a good mood, and I've done it again, haven't I? But a rival fan on, and we've lost again. I need to stop doing this. John, I'll make an exception for you, though. How you doing?
I'm absolutely fine, man. Thanks for having us on, Harry. And listen, I'm still bossing 3 points, but yesterday the performance, man, second half, we're going to talk about that. It's absolutely terrible. But you know what? I just like come on your show, Harry. Do you know what I mean? I think you're talented, young, and I think you're going to go a long way. And big up to the chat as well.
Oh, thank you very much. No, it's great to have you on. Before we get into it today, just a quick sponsorship message to check out our partners who sponsor in the show this season in the Kitman to find all your genuine classic past season football shirts and shorts and scarves, etc., all at affordable prices. You can buy former player and memorable goals with some of the retro memorabilia from the Kitman, and you can use the coupon SCARFY15 for a 15% discount. We'll be running a lot of giveaways. The next one is coming very, very soon. So do check out our partners, the Kitman. But we will crack straight into it. Billy, I'll start with you.
Sorry, Billy.
Yeah.
Harry, there's a comment in there. I left you a private message. Please do not read it out.
Yeah, no worries. I often don't. So no, it's fine. Thank you very much for letting me know. Cheers, John. Billy, what did you make of that lineup for Spurs? We saw Van der Ven, Solanke, Richarlison, all that. We knew that pre-match. We saw Ben squad going back into the squad. Odegaard kept his place in the starting 11, back-to-back starts. Sarr come in, Johnson on the bench. Any surprises in there for you? I mean, there's a lot to digest.
It was pretty disappointing having Mickey Van der Ven injured. We know how important he is for our team. So that was a real hammer blow, especially when the noise on social media was that he was going to make it and be all right, and then he didn't. And I think the biggest surprise for me when we actually started playing, rather than the actual lineup, when we actually started playing, was that Romero was on the left centre back and Dragusin was on the right centre back, which we've not seen before. And actually, the Spurs graphic seems to get it wrong because Kulusevski started up front and Son was wide. So that was that was the only surprises for me as well. I think the rest of the team pretty much picks itself. I think you need Sarr against Newcastle, especially. We've had some horrific results at St James's Park over the last couple of seasons. So I think we needed Sarr's legs in there to deal with the transitions. And I think, but it was just a real hammer blow to lose Mickey Van der Ven, to be honest.
It was, yeah. We got that from Paul O'Keefe. I mean, I was about to board my flight back to England, and I was like, oh, here we go. Not only have we got the weather to look forward to, Van der Ven unavailable, and we know how the results going. But Kallum, what did you make of the team? Johnson benched, I think, is one of the things that really stood out. Any surprises in there for you, or are you with Billy in terms of the team kind of generally now picks itself?
Yeah, I mean, when Paul O'Keefe came out with the Van der Ven news, I mean, it was quite late in the day, to be fair. So it's like Ange said afterwards, we thought that he could be there, but he wasn't 100%. So Dragu coming in quite realistic, and he went with what worked last weekend within reason against Everton. So I was quite happy with it within reason, apart from it taking about 20 minutes to load in to tell me which team we was going to field. So I was a little bit peed off about that. But no, it was what I think we all expected, to be honest. And that's probably our strongest lineup without a front man at the moment, probably.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Justin, what did you make of the lineup? I mean, it was a blow, wasn't it? We heard about Van der Ven. We knew about Solanke and Richarlison. I mean, it didn't look great for us going into the game, did it?
No, not really. But I assume we're going to go on to the transfers a bit later, so I'll have my I'll have my little rant on that later on. I tend to view it slightly differently. I thought the first half, I didn't think we were that great, and I must admit, I thought the second half, when we turned round and we made the changes to sort of bring Kulusevski into the middle, brought on Johnson, it sort of seemed to stifle Newcastle. We seemed to, I think in the first half they were almost dictating in that middle part, and I think when it came to the second half, when we had the likes of Maddison and Kulusevski working off each other, we didn't have a body that we were losing to be defensive. It was almost like we were being too respectful of Newcastle at that point. And when we actually got on the front foot and we were going at them, you could see they were really struggling to sort of deal with that. And as I said, I found that to be sort of quite surprising, especially as when you looked at their back line, and probably I don't know if John will agree with me on this, but I don't think he would have looked at Emil Kraft and Dan Burn as his two choices to have at centre back. So I think really that was a bit surprising. And so the second half, that was where I think what we should have seen, really. We saw it against Everton and it worked really well. It was very attacking minded. It sort of helped us get on the front foot better. So that would probably be, I think, what we need to start looking at more is maybe dropping the defensive midfield role, because for some reason it doesn't seem to suit how we play. But I think whether it be Maddison and Kulusevski, Maddison or Bergvall, Gray, whoever you want to put in there, that to me is where I think we are strongest, when we're going in like that, almost like a 4-2-3-1. So you've almost got like the two playmate, you've got two, almost in effect, the three going forward, in something like that. That to me is where I think when we were being more aggressive rather than having that defensive minded, for some reason, I know a lot of people talk about it, just doesn't seem to suit Spurs. Every time we have a number 6 trying to drop deep, it seems to unbalance the team. But when we have two there that can push forward and then maybe somebody behind the striker, that seems to suit us a lot better. So first off, I wasn't so sure. Second half, when we set out, I thought we played a lot better, and that's the team I'd like to see going forward.
Yeah, lovely. I mean, I was going to come on to the game later. We might as well just wrap up there, Justin. You pretty much covered it all, but no, thank you very much. No, you're completely fine. John, come to you. I want to talk about obviously the Newcastle lineup. We saw Lloyd Kelly in there. We saw Tonali on the bench. Harvey Barnes start. I mean, I've heard quite a few conversations from Newcastle fans I'm connected with. It was, was it Jacob Murphy? Was it Harvey Barnes that's going to start? Were you happy with the team that you saw? Was anything that surprised you in that 11 that Eddie Howe picked?
I thought Lewis Hall was dropped for Lloyd Kelly. I thought that was a bit of a surprise there, because I like Lewis Hall. I think he gives us all okay. He had excuse me, couple of mistakes in them, against Southampton, when he gave the ball away twice, and also as well that he wasn't very good against Bournemouth. I can't lie, but I thought Lloyd Kelly did all right yesterday. I can't lie. I think he defended really well, set up for a goal. And then if you look at the midfield, Tonali, I was upset that Tonali didn't play. He was playing as a sub, but I wanted to play from the beginning to get some minutes up. Excuse me. And Eddie stuck with Sean Longstaff. I'll call him 36, but saying that, I think he, to be fair to 36, I think he did well yesterday. I thought Joe Linton didn't start that well, but I thought he got better and better as the game went on. And as for Bruno Guimaraes, we know he loves to hang on to the ball, right? And he gets away with it before. But the problem is, he got bundled over a couple of times. You know what I mean? He's got to get rid of the ball very quickly if he can, yeah? But Bruno does different things, mate. He really does. Then up front, I mean, if we grab a front three, I was hoping it'd be Gordon, Barnes, and Isak. They put Gordon on the right, Barnes on the left, and Isak up top. That's the front three I want to see every single week, yeah? Jacob Murphy, he can come on as an impact sub. Okay, he should have scored before he did that assist. However, I was happy with the team lineup, Harry. I thought we were going to go for it. We're going to start fast. But going back to what you said about our defence of Burn and Kraft, that would not be my first choice. Centre-backs. Fabian Schär's coming back against Wolves. We should have brought another centre back, and we didn't. We tried to get Gay, it didn't happen. But the bottom line is, right, even Livramento played well yesterday. Yeah, but I was happy to line up. Yeah. I thought we'd go out there, give it a go. And yesterday, I think they put on performance yesterday, apart from the second half, of course.
Yeah, can I just ask you about that Mark Gay thing? Because what do you think of it? For me, I think it's crazy. You put all your eggs in one basket for Mark Gay with about 48 hours of the window left to go, and you've got no time to bring in anyone else. So do you think that Newcastle should have walked away from that one quicker? I think Palace have made a mistake here because I think he'll walk in a couple of years' time when his contract ends. But Newcastle, do you think there should have been a backup ready to go?
100%, Ali, 100%. I mean, look, we made 4 offers, yeah? I think it's something like 40, 55, 60 and 65, yeah? And what can I say, man? What can I say? I mean, look, I would have walked away at 55 million, yeah? Because I don't think this guy's worth 55 million, no more than 50 mil, right? That's the bottom line. There's other defenders we could have gone for. We could have gone for Logan Costa from Toulouse. We could have gone to Malik Chow from AC Milan, but he wanted to stay at the Sansa outfit anyway, yeah? There's defenders out there we could have gone for. Mo Simakan from Leipzig. We could have got him 42 mil. What does he go and do? He goes to Saudi, yeah, on a 5-year deal or something like that, yeah? There was defenders out there, right? And I've got to be honest with you, right? Eddie, if it's true, you only want a Gay, or that's it, yeah? For me, I love Eddie out of bits. You know I'm an Eddie fan, yeah?
Yeah.
But has he put himself under pressure now to deliver? And I just think it's ridiculous, man. It's just absolutely ridiculous. I mean, look, there's players out there.
It is, John. Sorry to interrupt, but you knew coming into the window that you needed a centre back. Lascelles was injured, Botman injured. It wasn't like all of a sudden something happened last minute. You knew you needed a centre back, and I felt that Newcastle went into that with no real plan and threw everything at one player that really was never going to leave the club. So I think it was crazy to see, but no, that is what happened. But we will move on to 37th minute when Newcastle got their first goal, and Kallum, I'll come to you. It was Harvey Barnes. It came from a throw-in, actually. So, would you look at that, Kallum? Do you go credit Newcastle, took it quickly, caught us off guard, or is it poor from Spurs? Lack of concentration.
I think once again it's a Spurs mistake. I mean, because up to that point, Newcastle had been quiet. They'd been on the back foot. We'd actually been pushing them back, and once again, it's a Spurs lack of concentration, and it's a mistake from us that caused the trouble, to be honest. So yeah, good pick up by Barnes. It was a good move by Newcastle, but realistically it all came about from Spurs screwing up, to be honest, mate. And I would put it wholly on us, to be honest, because realistically Newcastle had not really had anything in that game up until that point, apart from maybe the first 10 minutes with dominated for the last 25. So it's one of them where, Spurs screwed us. We made our own mistakes, and we have to live with that, to be honest, mate.
Yeah, how many times do we say that? I mean, another therapy session by the looks of it already tonight for those listening. Frustrating. Billy, what did you make of that first goal? Because I thought, I'm going to be honest with you, I think it's neat from Newcastle, very good. Porro wasn't in position. I think they exploited that really well. Barnes got in a good area. It was a nicely worked goal, but we have to stay concentrated, don't we? We know we didn't have strikers going in the game. We know we have problems killing the games. You have to stay concentrated for moments like that. The difference in games like this, don't you?
Yeah, and if you're going to try and win football matches the way that we play, where we're going to try and dominate the ball, which we have in the last 3 matches, then you can't afford any defensive lapses, because at the moment we're not quite creating enough. We're not quite creating the quality of chances to get. We just saw it in the Everton game, but against Leicester and Newcastle, we haven't created the quality chances where we're scoring 3-4 goals. And if you're going to concede 1 goal, then you have to score 2 every game. Obviously, at the moment in the Newcastle game, we're conceding 2. Just a couple of moments of switching off. And then it's really hard to win football matches when we're not creating the clear-cut chances that we're doing at the moment, as we've seen against Leicester and Newcastle. So, and the thing is, for me, like, we generally play pretty well in the first half. I thought we played excellently in the second half, particularly straight after kick-off. But it just all goes to complete waste with one switch off. And we've seen it so many times under this team and this manager. We leak goals, unfortunately. And until we stop leaking goals, then we're never going to be able to, turn games which we're dominating to win like this, which we should be winning, in terms of how much ball we had and how much possession we had. Just a defensive lapse like that, it's costing us. It's costing us dearly. It's cost us against Leicester and now against Newcastle as well.
Absolutely, completely agree. And you just those moments of concentration, and we can't kill the game either. So we really put it kind of lightly. We can't score and can't defend either. But we will get kind of more into that and what that kind of looks like, not only now but going forwards. Justin, I'll come to you on Newcastle's first goal again. Now the same question I've asked all the guys. How do you look at it? Do you look at it and go, it's clever from Newcastle, which I do think myself it was. The Spurs, they've got to do better for you. Stay concentrated, like Romero jogging back. Has he got to do better as an established Copa America winning centre-back?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I know we're not going to talk about it yet, but he's culpable for both. And I think Billy hit the nail on the head perfectly. At the end of the day, if we're going to play this type of football, then the defence has to be at tip-top shape, which is another thing we'll probably get onto a bit later, because it doesn't matter who scores the goals. You can't turn around, especially with the quality that Newcastle have up top, particularly in the likes of, I know obviously they didn't score it, but you talk of like Gordon, Isak, people like that you're going to get punished. And any opportunity, I mean, the one thing I would say defensively that we have worked on, which has been good, is the set pieces. But the fact of it being is that they've taken this quick free kick. We've been caught napping, and one of the ones I didn't mention, which again I remember probably saying some of you lot we should be signing up, is Harvey Barnes before we went there. Is another one that is again a fantastic talent. So when you've got a front three like that, which I'll be brutally honest, I think is better than ours. I think that front three is better than ours. You have to be 110% on your game. Any mistakes, and technically we made 2 and we lost 2-1. Simple as that.
Yeah, it is as simple as that. And that's the frustrating thing. It definitely could have been avoided. But John, I want to ask you about your first goal. Do you think it was clever? You took a quick throw in. What did you make of it? I mean, I think it was a smart move really from Newcastle.
I'm going to kind of agree with you, Harry, because it was a smart move. First goal went down the left from Kelly, and then he whipped it in. And then there he was, Harvey Barnes should have scored. Was unlucky not to score when he had that curling shot, went past went for the top corner and he missed. And then Spurs were caught napping. Great work, Kelly, like I said. Harvey B absolutely finished it well, stretched it out. He did well to stretch out, and there was a goal to 0. And then that kind of hit Spurs anyway hard, because I think Spurs were getting back into the game at that point. And then all of a sudden, Spurs tried to come back into the game. I mean, he had a goal offside, and Homer had a fantastic save, lower down as well. But saying that, I mean, on the balance, payoff was quite even, but we got first, and I think I was happy with a goal up, and then all we have to do is just hold on to what we got. I didn't think it's going to be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6-0 again. Do you know what I mean? But it's just your defense. You're badly missing Van der Ven at the back, Harry. You're badly missing. Do you know what I mean? Because he's quick, he holds things together, he defends properly, and I think he's a really good player. But you missed him today.
Yeah, no, we certainly did miss him. I think that's for sure. Billy, I'll come back to you. Half-time, Newcastle had the lead. What were your thoughts on that 45 minutes as a whole? How do you think we responded? We all know last season at St James's Park, we lost that game 4-0. We didn't respond well to concede early. We didn't at Anfield and several places the last year or two. Do you think we reacted better and more positive in our play?
It was okay. Yeah, it was certainly a lot better than it was the last few years. But I think what really made the difference was when we got to half-time, made the changes and switched up a little bit. Put Kulusevski in midfield and brought Johnson on. And I think from half-time to about 50, 60 minutes, we were excellent. And let's put some of the best football we played all season. We were just creating chance after chance, battering their goal. Obviously got the equaliser, but I thought the changes that Ange made at half-time were excellent, and we were really on top then. I thought we did respond quite well, because the last 2 seasons we've gone there, we've scored early and we've absolutely fell apart, which we didn't do this time. So it's progress in respect. And I think the changes that Ange made were really, really positive and made a huge difference, actually.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll get into it. I think the engaged management questions, I think they're kind of dying out a little bit more. I think that he knows what he's doing when it comes to that. Well, I certainly think he does anyway. But Kallum, what did you make of that kind of first half in general? Obviously, it's not the way you wanted it to be at halftime, 1-0 behind. But the same question I asked Billy, how did we respond for you? Because I certainly thought there's an improvement in the way we responded. Because the old Tottenham, could have been 2-3-0 down at halftime in terms of how we reacted to that, sat on the back foot. I don't think Newcastle were fantastic, but it could have been worse, couldn't it?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, realistically, we were better in the first half for a lot of it than Newcastle, but you can't take any credit away from them. They did play well to the end of it. They did push us back, and Ange had to make them changes. The change of Sarr for Johnson, and it had a positive impact. I mean, it comes back to what we all thought Brennan was last year, something of a pace merchant who can run a defence like Newcastle's that wasn't probably their first choices, and start putting a little bit more pressure on them, to be honest. I mean, John, was Lloyd Kelly playing at left back yesterday, or was he playing more as a centre back for you guys?
I believe he was left back.
Playing centre back. So, I mean, I'd love to see Lloyd Kelly as a centre back, but he looks comfortable at left back as long as he defends well. But for me, if I was a manager, I'll put Lloyd, because he's 6'3", he'd be perfect as a centre back.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely, mate. Definitely. I mean, but when you've got someone like Brennan running at you, I think everyone's going to shit themselves, to be honest, a little bit, because just pure pace going at you. And he had a definite impact, and he obviously enforced that a lot more mistakes, and it started opening the game up, because I think throughout the first half, we was definitely a lot more one way of thinking. We weren't using the right sides. We was using it all straight into dead pockets of space. We was just getting overrun. So when Brennan did come on, we had a nice aspect to it. And I thought that realistically, we were making some decent inroads when it come to it compared to how we was. And I think last time this year, we was probably about 2-3-0 down, weren't we? By about that point. So, I mean, to only going 1-0, we had made we have made an improvement, but realistically, that was probably 9 out of 10 players who played against Newcastle this time last season, about in the last 6 months. So it don't really bode well, does it, too much to show improvement, at least on the first team. But I know that's a transfer issue, whole other thing. And to be honest, I've been there, seen it, done it this summer, so I'm sick of it now, to be honest with you.
Yeah. No, I absolutely don't blame you. Justin, I'll come to you next, because I want to go on to start the second half. Newcastle could have been 2-0 up, but it was a tackle by Dragisin to stop Isak doubling their advantage. How well did he do for you there? Do you think that's a great bit of defending? Some say maybe a bit lucky in the way he went into the tackle. How do you view that? Anyway, it was important.
I think, to be fair, we're seeing it a bit more now, where the referees are a bit more lenient to those sort of things, which I think is good, because we don't want whether it be that tackle, you want others where you could just brush them and they roll over and get penalties, or things like that. I think what we need to sort of be seeing is not just from him. I think the one thing I would say, I know you've spoken about our tackle, but the fact of it being is that he outplayed Romero yesterday. I thought he was the better defender. I really did. I thought he was more commanding. He seemed to have Isak well marshalled. And it was only once, again, Isak was able to get, into the positions for Romero to drop off that he was able to get his goal. So, no, I didn't. I think from what we're seeing, more of what referees are letting go or things like that. I think in how it is now, sort of looking at here, I think it was just a fantastic tackle, and I think we'd have said that the same whether it was the other way round, to be fair.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why, John, I'm going to come to you next. I want to ask you, did you think that was, a penalty? I personally think it was a really good time tackle, but what did you make of it? You're on mute. Just unmute yourself, John.
You're on mute, John. I don't think he can either hear us or we can hear.
John might have a technical issue, but we'll come back to him in just a second. Actually, I think he's got it sorted now. Go away, go for it, John.
Thank you. And what's the question? Sorry, because that again.
No, no worries at all. It's about Ruddy Dragson's tackle. For you, not a penalty. Would you agree?
You know what? I watched it back again, and I couldn't see it was a pen. I could be wrong on that, but it could have gone either way, to be fair. But I didn't think it was a pen. Only a lot of people, Newcastle fans, will say it's a pen, but I didn't think it was. To be honest with you, do you know what I mean? There's nothing going. I mean, listen, it's one of those things. You can go either way, whether it is or not. They could have checked it on VAR, and he didn't. So as far as I know, it's not a penalty for me. But go again.
Yeah, no, exactly. Go again. No, I don't think that anyone really thought it was. Maybe from a certain angle it looked like it, but if you look at it properly, I don't think it was. Nobody really asked for it. Sorry, John. You won the game anyway. Sadly, we'll get on to how the game goes though. Don't you worry. But I do want to touch a little bit on Dragusin. So Justin, I'll come to you. What did you make of Dragusin's performance generally in that game? He stepped in. I think it would have been fairly last minute. By the look of it, you hear from Paul O'Keefe, it looked like Van der Ven was assessed the day before or on the day, more than likely. He didn't obviously travel to Newcastle. How do you think he'd done generally?
Yeah, I think he looked all right. He looked assured. As I said, I mean, one of the things you tend to worry about is when somebody is coming in and that they're not... they'll be playing for a while. You worry about are they up to speed. I must admit, I was a bit concerned because, as I said earlier, the attacking three that Newcastle have, I think is probably one of the best in the league, to be honest, when they're playing together like that. So I must admit there was concerns with it, but I think he did all right. As I say, I think, he has to certainly be in the conversation to maybe be getting more and more minutes. Do we turn around and, if there is a risk of Van der Ven, because I agree with what, John said earlier about how important Van der Ven is. If there is a risk, he's not 100%. Do we risk him in the North London derby? I mean, it's a tough one to call. I think we're going to have to see it based on how it goes. But for an audition in terms of, doing well, I don't think he did too bad, to be honest.
No, I didn't think he'd done too bad either. How did you think he'd done, Kallum? What do you think on Draguson's performance?
Yeah, I think that Dragu's definitely got something to offer, and realistically, I think he is a competent backup. The one thing that I don't like is the fact that they're playing Romero on the left and playing Dragusin on the right. I don't think it works. And I mean, I know that Nigel's just said that he don't look good on the left. Well, I mean, he weren't playing on the left; he was playing on the right hand side yesterday. So I think it would be kind of on the other way round, to be honest, because that's where he plays for Romania. He's definitely a competent double, a competent backup as such, and probably is good enough to push to be a first choice option. And I think he made 2 to 3 good recovery tackles yesterday. And how anyone did think it was a pen, I don't know. He completely just won the ball fairly and did everything that we would want from a deputy. But it does show in different aspects that the synergy isn't there between him and Romero, because obviously they only played 3, 4, 5 games together. So, and you could definitely see there's weaknesses whenever he does play alongside the fullbacks as well, probably because there's just no cohesiveness with them. So I think there's got to be a way of getting him more game time alongside our existing back four as much as possible, because the more games you get, the more used to people you are, the more effort you can put in and the more understanding you have to do it. Because obviously the way that it works is you've got Udogie, Van der Ven and Dragu, who all speak perfect English, completely clear, everything like that. But when you've got Romero and Porro, who speak Spanish and Portuguese, it's a lot more difficult. So you'd need them all playing to learn how to play together, and you can't just do that on a training pitch. So I think that's hopefully what we'll see this year. But if Dragusin does stay with us, which I hope will be a good thing going forward, then I'm hoping that he could push for a starting berth, to say the least,
Yeah.
in the coming weeks, to be honest.
No, definitely, Kallum. I don't know about you guys and yourself, Kallum, but I'm waiting for Radu Dragassin's agent's little piece as we've got the international break, a little rant about how Tottenham's, just a stepping stone. He's been treated badly. I mean, I'm sure we'll get all of that in due course as we usually do. I mean, I don't
Is
rate
there
him at all.
is there a bit of a is there a bigger dickhead as an agent than that geezer? Because even his mum comes out and Radu's mum comes out and goes, he's happy where he is. He's a quiet lad. He just wants to get on and play his football. And then this twat starts jumping up and moaning about something. You just think, sorry. This idiot starts being a so-and-so. And I know I'll probably get banned eventually after this.
Oh, yes.
We'll see.
No,
wonderful.
right.
I'll be on a
We'll
6-month
let you
ban
off.
as usual.
Yeah, just the usual for Kallum. I mean, no wonder he hasn't appeared on Heartland podcast for goodness knows how long, but we will move on. 56th minute. 1-1. We got back in the game. It was actually an own goal by Dan Burn. So, Justin, I'll come back to you. Do you think it's, credit Johnson, for reacting to that Pope spill? And kind of forcing, I don't know, a mistake from Dan Burn, if you like, because none of it happens that doesn't happen. So, what did you make of the goal? Was it Newcastle error, Spurs credit? I want to hear your
to be
thoughts.
fair, I think you have to obviously say well done to Johnson for being reactive to potentially allowing for it, but John will probably say himself that is an error, and it's very lucky it hasn't cost him, because the way the game was going, momentum could have been built and that could have caused a lot of issues. So, you would tend to think that those sort of things would have been dealt with, at that scene. But credit to Johnson, it's reactive, caused the confusion, caused the mess up, and fortunately, it created the goal. And as I said, it should have gone on to being 3 points for us, but alas, it wasn't. But I think maybe what we need to be more creative about is, things aren't going well, that we're bold enough like that. If it's a case of that Odebear is having a quiet game, that Johnson comes on, and if he does well for the half, which he did, he can start the Arsenal game. And then if he has a quiet half, then Odebear comes on. We need to stop this whole notion that players will just start because of the name that they have. To me, technically 2 mistakes. If Van der Ven's fit, I'd go with Dragassin and Van der Ven, really. This is the culture we need to create, because it's something that's not accepted elsewhere. So, credit to him, but hopefully he'll get the chance to prove it, and be able to build on that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's about that confidence with Dragassin getting to understand that back line. So, no, I'm completely with you on that one, Justin. But, Billy, what did you make of the equaliser? I mean, what was it? We had something like 66, if not more, % possession in the game, 20 goals, and our only goal comes from an own goal. Do you look too much into that, or did you just go credit Johnson also for forcing that mistake?
No, I do look into that, because of the 20 chances created, only 2 of them had more than a 0.1 XG, which means that we created a lot of chances, but a lot of them tended to be, I think Porro had the most chances of any of our players. We were shooting from outside the box quite a lot. I think Sarr had 2 that were saved pretty well by Pope as well. The actual chances to create them weren't particularly decent chances. And it was only really when Johnson came on, we started putting balls into the box, dangerous balls into the box. And I think actually the biggest frustration why we didn't win this game is because when Johnson was putting those crosses in, there weren't enough people in the box. There weren't enough people committing at the back post. Odegaard wasn't there a couple of times. Son wasn't there a couple of times. And we know that's how Ange tries to play. So I think the concern for me in terms of our chance creation is the chance that we were making yesterday. Yeah, we had 20 chances, which is great in an away game, but was the actual quality of chances very good? No, I don't think it was. So I think I was just, happy to get any kind of goal, even if it is an own goal. But I think Johnson was the one who was making things happen in the second half for sure.
Absolutely. John, I want to talk to you from a Newcastle point of view, having conceded that goal. What do you kind of make of it? Is your frustration with Nick Pope? Is it with Dan Burn, who could have done better? How do you kind of look at that?
Well, before that, we could have gone 2 up in the second half on Isak's clean through, which Dragassin made a fantastic tackle to stop a certain goal. And also as well, Spurs had a lot of chances as well. Odegaard, he should have headed it in. In fact, he followed over 2 yards out. Then Sonny had a chance as well when he ran 30 yards and took it deflection out for a corner. And then another chance as well when Madison Kernan shot, put him in a fantastic save. But other than that, the goal was coming. The goal was coming, guys. And again, give the ball away, right? Credit for Ben Johnson, right? And then put him in a good save. Then Pedro Pero went in as well, and Dan Burn was at the wrong place at the wrong time, then put into an open net, which is a shame because I thought Dan Burn's been really good in this game. I really thought that, you know what I mean? But yeah, I'm going to be honest with you, Harry, the goal was coming, right? Because I sat there and I said to him, mate, he sat next to us, I said, the goal's going to come in a minute. And he did serve equalised saves. The Madison shot cut inside, powered by Pope, and then it's Paffin Brennan, and then turning the goal over by Dan Burn. But I tell you something, right? They could have been more. Spurs could have gone 2 up. Like I said, with Madison. Shot with Paul made a fantastic save, pushed it over the bar.
Yeah, it's a great save, that.
It was. And if you went 2 up, you know what? You deserve it. But 20 goal attempts, yeah, with 6 on target. Your problem is, Harry, right? You just cannot score goals. That is a problem. There's one guy you missed yesterday. He would have thrived on it. And that's Dominic Solanke. He would have thrived on it yesterday, man.
It is that, John, but it's also we have lapses of concentration, like from those 2 goals. So then we put the pressure on ourselves to have to take those chances, and we're just not taking them. And it's just frustrating. It's a cycle.
It is frustrating for you, man. Frustrating because we look at the goal we scored. Lovely ball from Joe Linton. Spurs defenders nowhere. Murphy's clean through. Despite some,
that's my next point. We're going to get onto the goal.
Yeah. Perfect.
No, you let me perfectly.
No. I'll come back if you want.
I'll come back to you. I'll come back to you,
man. Let the guys.
So with 12 minutes of normal time to go, Newcastle took the lead once again. Went 2-1 up, and it was a tap in from Isaac Kallum. I mean, that's just awful defending, right? I mean, good pass from Guimaraes, but it's like a knife through butter. It's one pass splits open the whole of the midfield and the entire defence, and leads to, in the end, a tap in from Isaac. It's too easy for Murphy and Newcastle, isn't it, Kallum?
Exactly, and it comes back to the point we was all saying for the first goal. Romero was ball watching again. He was literally nowhere. That pass was something that you'd expect from like a prime Real Madrid Modric, something like that, just a thread of the needle pass that just goes straight through. But it just says the weakness of our defenders or our whole team just to switch off, because at no point did Newcastle have any right to deserve to come back into that. And they'd be under the cosh for God knows how long. And like we said, the lack of cohesiveness up front and the mistakes at the back have been all complete issues. So Spurs' whole game idea yesterday, it was an amalgamation of F-ups by Spurs and all that, to be honest. It was our own problems we created, and to allow a pass like that to go through for then Isak to have a tap in. I mean, don't get me wrong, Isak is a top-class striker, and if he played for, no offence, John, somewhere that's not Newcastle, like City, like Liverpool, like Real, all of them, people would say he'd be getting world-class numbers. And the fact he's still under, I think, 25 or 26 is brilliant, but it just shows that when our defence falls asleep, probably if you look at it, we've probably got some of the highest mistakes leading to goals from our back four, to be honest. And yesterday was exactly the same. That's the problem. So I know I'm banging on a lot, and I know I'm probably repeating a lot of points, but it's just the pure frustration that we are doing so much right in game. Every single game we have our own mistakes, which we cause. And I know probably every other team has them, but because we watch Spurs, and obviously because John watches Newcastle, we can only analyse what's on here. And all the reasons we've lost, we drew against Newcastle, lost against Newcastle, drawn against Leicester. Even in the Everton game, there were points, and there's the same mistakes all the way through, and you have to hope that these players are going to get out of their heads sooner rather than later and start acting like the big stars we think they are for Spurs. Because if they don't, we are just going to be the secondary club again. We will come fifth, we will come sixth, we will have every happy clapper out there going, yeah, Levy's done great. You'll have every pain in the backside out there as well going, Ange out by Christmas, Ange out by Christmas. Ange can pick the team, Ange can coach the team, Ange cannot control a human on a pitch telling them, you stand there, you don't watch that ball go.
But is
like
it
that.
system related? And I'm not just playing devil's advocate here, Kallum, but is it the high line that's the problem here?
It could be, but a high line doesn't mean that you ball watch. You
No,
go with your man. That's the thing. As primarily being a defender, even a fullback. I mean, I've played as a fullback. I've learned how to cross the ball into the box, but also how to track back. And you track your man. You don't track the ball. You go into the space. You close the space down, and to let a ball go straight for the middle, wonderful. And then it creates another problem for Spurs, and then we're trailing a game which, like John said, like Billy said, we should have been ahead in, to be honest. Simple as that. We should have been probably 3-4 up by then, but then that was a complete lack of clinicalness up the other end of the pitch as well. So our own problems are what caused us to lose yesterday, mate.
Absolutely. Big up to Peter, who often listens from Melbourne first thing in the morning. So, Peter, let us know what time it is you're listening in live. Really dedicated. I mean, especially after Spurs have lost. I mean, it's so easy, isn't it? Just stay in bed that little bit longer. But no, we really do appreciate your ongoing commitment. So, no, thank you very much. But it's just really frustrating for me, that goal. But from John, I want to hear your thoughts again from a Newcastle point of view. Is it credit Guimaraes? Do you think that's a really good pass from him? Because he does split that whole of the Spurs team. As bad as I think we were, it's a class pass from a class player, isn't it?
I've got to congratulate Harry's Joelinton did that pass.
Oh, was it Joelinton? Oh, my bad. There you go. What revelation. Under Eddie Howe, I mean, he's completely turned the player around.
Hasn't he just? I mean, look, he has had a good start. I mean, he did all right against Southampton. He was good against Southampton. He was shocking against Bournemouth last week. The worst I've seen Joelinton played under Eddie Howe since he's taken over the football club, yeah? And then again, it was poor Forest. But yesterday, that pass was sort of that mission thing. He can do that. If you need, I want someone to step up, right? Will it be him? Excuse me. Will it be him or Bruno or even Tonali? Had it been Tonali's pass, that would have been talked about for a year. But Joelinton's pass to Murphy, clean through, one-on-one, right? And it was clean through. And then the question was, is he going to pass square to Isak or is he going to take it on his own? Bearing in mind, he missed a chance earlier before when Vicario made a good save. And I wonder if he's going to do it again. And he squared it to Isak and it slots it home for 2-1. But again, Spurs were caught napping. They were caught napping. And that's your problem. Spurs, I stepped up, right? You could have gone 2-3-4 and up against us. And then you went 2-1 behind. But one thing I'm going to say, Spurs has played a lot better since the last 2 away games. Yeah, the last 2 away games, you were shocking. But you came in and you gave it a right go. But the couple of crosses from the right, where's the take us? Where is your take us? I mean, I think Son went close as well, but he just couldn't get there. But I think Ange will be disappointed. He'll be very disappointed at that performance at the end of the day. But one thing I will say, we needed that goal. Without playing well, we have not been playing well this season. I agree with Liam in the chat. How much longer can we get away with just playing this kind of football? Yeah, we need to defend properly. Fabian Schär will come back, and I think he'll make a difference at the back. But Tonali needs to start. And the front three that played last week, yesterday, you got to play them all the time now.
Yeah, no, I do agree. I think a lot of Newcastle fans feel the same way as well, John. So, no, thank you very much for that. Billy, it ended 2-1 Newcastle to Spurs fans' disappointment. How do you look at it? Were we unlucky, and just why can't we kill games? I know we were out strikers, But do you think that there's other, reasons why we just, for whatever reason, just not killing games? It was a problem last season, wasn't it? Villa at home, West Ham at home.
We were unlucky in some respects because we did dominate the ball. I don't think what we did with the ball was maybe enough to say we were, we should have definitely won the game, because we weren't creating many clear-cut chances. We were creating a lot of chances, but not the best quality chances. And I think the thing for me, which is why you can't particularly say it's unlucky, is because that that second goal that we conceded about, a handful of times last season. We've seen it so many times before. And if you're making the same mistakes over and over again, it's not really, luck doesn't come into it again. It's just poor. The first goal was a lapse in concentration, but the second goal, we've been cut open like that so many times under Ange. And it's really, really frustrating. And that is where, I think you would be hard pushed to say we were unlucky, because it's just poor game management, poor planning. I think one of the obviously big factors is if Solanke was playing, it'd be a completely different game. But then we're at a situation where we've had all summer as a transfer window, and we've started 2 Premier League games, our last 2 Premier League games, with no fit strikers, which is a disgrace, really. That's an absolute disgrace. So I don't think it's bad luck. I think it's down to poor squad management in terms of our transfer window. Probably let us down in some key areas. Again, we saw what happened when Mickey van de Ven gets injured. He gets injured 3 games into the season and we lose. And everyone knows that Richarlison has significant fitness issues, and we didn't upgrade on him, and he's got injured straight away again. He's out for a few weeks now. So for me, luck doesn't go into it. I think it's bad decision making on our part.
Okay, I didn't plan to go into the transfer window, but I know there's one guy in the bottom right-hand corner in Justin that would love to absolutely talk about that. So I'm very tempted to give his moment. So I tell you what, we'll come to you next, Justin. The question I'm going to ask you is the same. Why can't we kill games? I mean, feel free to go for vent your frustration at the window and why we couldn't kill the game yesterday.
Oh, okay. I'm strapping.
Yeah,
I've taken a long time to sort of digest why we couldn't kill that game, and sort of looking at the window and things like that. And it pains me to say it, but we are in another rebuild season. When you listen to what's been said, what's been talked about, everything else like that, you look at the team we put out, the players we put on, these aren't players that at this point would get in teams much higher than where we are at, where we were, particularly at the end of last season. If you go by that sort of line, you take that front 3 that we put out, and I don't truly believe, that Newcastle would take any of them, maybe on the bench, but you wouldn't certainly start with them. If you'd said to me who was I looking at, it would be the 3 that they had. And I just feel that this is where I just find it really frustrating, because there's so many things that have come out that completely seem to contradict themselves. We've heard Ange talk about the fact that the reason that we didn't sign a centre-back, even though that was something that we were meant to be doing, particularly on the left side, the argument that came back was, we don't want to sign somebody because we don't want to stifle the development of Vuskovic and Ashley Phillips. And yet, we could have signed somebody on loan. Palace went after Trevor Chalobah, yet we for some reason couldn't do that. Yet we deemed it to be acceptable to do on the left with Timo Werner. We all know Timo Werner is only going to be here for the season. He's not going to be any longer than that. So we know, that he was brought in as a filler, and yet we had spent so much time being linked with Eze from Crystal Palace, who would have been a long-term replacement, and one that we know the club liked. We know that Johan Lang liked. Everybody knew that was liked. And I was under the impression that regardless of how the fee was going to be done, Palace, very much probably similar to what John would have established with Mark Gahey, they made it clear, what the price was. You can offer that, you can lowball it, but you're not going to get it, and to me, I just sat there and I thought, what's the point then? What was the point of even being linked with Eze? Because clearly you weren't going to get Eze, never on the terms. You were not going to negotiate with Palace. They had a set structure and they knew what they were going to stick to. So I kind of feel, looking at it, that there's just so much bits I just can't get my head around. I mean, are we turning around? Because when you looked at that game yesterday and you look at what has been going on throughout, particularly so far, obviously we've got 3 strikers out injured. Okay. No, I don't understand particularly how we've still kept Richarlison, because okay, he's good, but he's a Brazilian sick note for me now. You know, he's back 20 minutes and he's injured. We don't know when he's going to be back. You know, we have one of those and we sent him off to Betis. So to me, I don't get that. That to me doesn't make any sense. If there was genuinely an option, okay, he may wanted to stay, but I don't see how the club couldn't have turned around and said, accept the offer, get your money back, go and get somebody else. If you're not going to put the money in for that, make a statement signing. You know, we saw the reports of, you know, Anthony Gordon, who we looked at when we did the Richarlison deal. All right. And we know that there was these rumours going about, particularly as John will probably back up with PSR, where Anthony Gordon was being linked to go to Liverpool so that Joe Gomez goes the other way so that he could tick a box. And then we know that his mind and his head's been turned. It was a case of, hang on a minute, you're going to get rid of me just for PSR.
Yeah, no, I understand.
To me, there's so many different bits we could have done. And when you look at now, particularly at the back, where if Van der Ven maybe is more serious in terms of injury, or we get any other injuries, especially with the amount of games we've got coming up, I don't get why we can't get particularly a free agent like a Mats Hummels or, you know, Sergio Ramos, somebody in like that, just for the season, see it through and things like that. So it just feels like we're in a rebuild, and whatever everybody else anticipates, that's what we're going to get. Top 6 will be best that we can hope for.
Do you stand by your 6 out of 10 rating for the window, Justin?
I think it's a 4 out of 10 now. I think genuinely,
It's gone down.
It's gone down because I look.
I had to ask that, I'm afraid.
No, that's fine. And to be fair, look, the reason that it's gone down is because when you look at what we've put out, particularly in that second half, same team. So of course it was going to have the same issues. As Billy rightly pointed out, we couldn't kill games off. So what have we done when we took Odegaard off? What have we done? All we've done is replace Odegaard with a Welsh version in terms of somebody who's got pace, can run forward, but can't really score many goals. So there isn't been that level of progress. And to me, when you look at it, Bergwijn getting limited minutes, Archie Gray not even coming on the pitch, you know, Mikey Moore not even making the squad. What ultimately is this? You know, and I'll be intrigued to see how it develops and things like that. But I truly don't. If anybody sits there and thinks this is going to be that season, we've heard with Ange generally wins things in his second season. Spoiler alert, he ain't winning nothing this year. And as I said, if we get top 6, I'll snap your hand off, because I think that is realistically where we're aiming at. When you look at what other teams have done, you know, particularly where we were, I think it's going to be a struggle.
Okay. No, thank you very much. Just killed any optimism ongoing. That's it. No. I appreciate the honesty, and I think, you know, it was a therapy session anyway. It's definitely a maybe like a therapy. Yeah, therapy premium session. Oh dear. No, we try and focus on the positives. Obviously, it's hard when you lose a game and you don't start the season as well as you would have thought. But Kallum, before we kind of move on to player of the match, who stood out, who disappointed for you? Did you think we shot more in that game? Someone mentioned to me, actually, not, you know, today, that they were happy that we were shooting more, and I didn't really notice it. But if you go back and do have a look, we did. Like Maddison taking more shots outside the box. Was that a positive sign? I'm just trying to turn Justin's like negative bits and try for a bit of a spin on the show. So, what did you see that where the people are coming from?
You've probably come to the one person that's probably either as negative or more negative than Jay, to be fair with me. So I mean, probably no. You're not wrong, mate. We was definitely shooting more, but the problem is that we were shooting out of frustration. That's the thing, because when you look at it, saw in the first half, long shots because we couldn't create anything to get into the box. We had no front man. Second half, a lot more long shots, just Porro skying it over the bar. Odegaard being not clinical enough, Son being back to the Son of last year at times, being a passenger as well. So yeah, we had more shots. That's wonderful, but they was coming from different areas of the pitch where there was no clinicalness to it. And the fact that Pope only made 6, well, he had 6 on target. Pope made 6 saves. That's what it was, I think, during that game. So we were shooting. It was more like hit and hope, play a bit of FIFA, play a bit of Football Manager. Yeah, you get your XG up based on how many shots you have per game. But realistically, I don't think there's any positives to be taken out of that because, yeah, we're creating chances, but no one was in there to take them chances. And it just spells what Jay said. Lack of 2 first-team strikers that we've got, and then our third-choice striker, who would i.e. be the backup in Lancashire, is injured as well. So as a top club, we've got 3 very good strikers or people who can score goals from under 21s up to first-team level are all in a sick room. And literally they're sitting in the same place with Jack Wilshere at the moment, probably. So I'm probably even... We're creating a load of chances. That's the whole point of Angie's football. And
it's about taking those chances, isn't it? And it's converting performances into results. It's got to be the next stage, isn't it?
That's the thing. It's that fun L-shaped goal that he likes to score. Johnson puts it across the box. Werner or Son are there to convert it, sort of thing. So you always are at right angles. When they're shooting from distance, it just spells frustration from it, and it's just they've gone, right, screw it, we're not going to follow Angie's mantra, we're just going to do what we want and try and get something in the hope that Nick Pope's going to screw up. Well, no matter how many injuries Nick Pope's had, he's still probably for me the second if not best goalkeeper for England and all that, and I will take Pope hands down if we could as a backup for Vicario, because Vicario is still better. Sorry, John.
I tell you what, you want Pope, cool, that's fine. But I tell you one thing, right? I mean, who would I take for Tottenham? I take Van der Ven.
Yeah, I know you're a big fan of Van der Ven. I can totally see that.
Yeah, you just want a Dutch partnership, don't you? You want Botman on the right and Van der Ven on the left.
Well, I just think, wow, that could be a possibility. But I think we need a defender with pace, and this guy has got pace. I mean, Romero looks good. Romero, I like Romero. I mean, he gets a lot of stick because he makes some rash tackles, but on his day, I think he's brilliant.
Absolutely.
I still think you could have done a lot worse than getting Joachim Andersen from Palace. I think you guys could have looked at Anderson, to be honest, for 30 million.
Yeah.
He's 28, 29. I think that's.
I know Lloyd Kelly done all right yesterday, but with Newcastle, they knew the situation. As I said, coming into the window, and Lloyd Kelly, I think you could have got as well as, but I feel like it was just Lloyd Kelly in the end, and I think that's quite disappointing. But...
I know. He's good. I mean, Lloyd Kelly's gonna, if he settles in Newcastle, he will be fine. I mean, Van der Ven is not, but I tell you what, he's got a style, and what he needs to do, I think, if he's calm on the ball and used the ball well, and I just want to see a centre back.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'm going to move on to man of the match next. So, Billy, I'll come to you first. So let me word this slightly different way, so to focus on the Spurs point of view. Who was our best player in that game for you? Who could hold their head high?
I will go with Dragoshin, who I thought had a lovely good game, particularly first game of the season. And I thought in terms of going forward, I think probably Johnson was our best player going forward because he changed the game when he came on. I think those two are the standouts for me.
Yeah, absolutely. And need to get them behind both, obviously, but Brennan Johnson in particular, I think, is continuing to prove the doubters wrong. But I could have a whole show, for goodness knows how long, on Brennan Johnson. But although he's a Tottenham Hotspur player, he's also a Tottenham Hotspur podcast. We won't just focus on Brennan Johnson. Kallum, who was your player of the match from Spurs? Again, talk about holding heads high. I certainly agree with Billy that those two can. Is there anyone else for you that you thought, you know what, they put a shift in and they deserve credit? Come on, bit of optimism.
Really, look at my face. Seriously, I'm a morbid, boring sod. Get used to it.
We know.
I think maybe I don't think Udogie was that bad, to be honest. I think he had some decent link up down the left. He looked all right. There's definitely could be something there between him and Son forming a good partnership this year. Maybe as an option, but I don't think there was too much for me personally to take from the game to praise anyone apart from maybe Dragusin.
Okay, no, that's interesting to hear. I think that Dragusin is definitely one that's going to keep coming up. But Justin, for you, is there anyone else that stood out, or is it either the same kind of Dragusin, Johnson, and not really anyone else really stepping up?
I will. One thing I do want to say is, before we go on to that, I do want to say that from a Newcastle perspective, I thought Guimaraes was probably man of the match overall.
Yeah.
Because I feel that he's come in, he's taken the captaincy, and he's doing a pretty decent job with that. Especially, it's a bold move, especially taking it off Trippier. But in terms of from a Tottenham perspective, if we are looking for someone slightly different, I maybe would say Kulusevski, because with him, we are pretty much just turning him into anything and everything. At some point, we'll see him in goal. We're playing him on the left, we're playing as a false nine, we're playing him in the midfield. At some point, Ange will take the day off and he'll be doing the team talk and what have you. So, I think he's maturing, and maybe that is a positive that we're going to start seeing with regards to that. So that would probably be the only one extra on top.
Okay, that's really interesting. And before we come to John, I was looking at players that stood out. Barney's a fan of Dan Burn, Newcastle fan Liam in the YouTube chat. I said Dan Burn, man of the match, which got a nod of approval from John Sinclair himself. John, who's your man of the match? It has to be a Newcastle player, doesn't it? Really, you won the game.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I could figure a couple as the man of the match as well. I mean, I thought Nick Pope made some couple crucial stops and keep us in the game. I thought Dan Burn played really well. Okay, I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, he panicked for the own goal. I thought he's really, really good. Vital blocks as well, getting where it hurts. 36. Do you know what? I'm going to place 36 because I thought he ran the socks off today. I can't lie. I've kicked that little doggy. I think he did well. And yes, he's been criticised as well because he's been either lazy, not going to run with his man. I thought Guimaraes, did he defend well? Yes. Was he influential in the game to ball? Nah. I mean, he got caught out a couple of times. But for me, the man of the match for me, I'm going to go for Emil Kraft. And I'm going to be honest with Emil Kraft. And I'll tell you for why. Because if he's the game, right, he really make mistakes, right? And he denied a block off you guys after Burn gave the ball away in a stupid position, man. Do you know what I mean? And I think Kraft helped him out a bit, yeah? But the thing with Emil Kraft, let's put it this way. I was not an Emil Kraft fan at all whatsoever. Yeah, he was bang average playing for Bologna, right? Comes to Newcastle. Oh my God, are we going to get this guy? And then Eddie Howe turned into a solid defender.
He's good at that, though, isn't he? Eddie Howe, getting the best out of players. Joe Linton, it really, for me, is the prime example. A player that had a bad start to life, but he managed to change his position and turn a corner. So he's good at that, isn't he, Eddie Howe?
100%. That's his job. I mean, look, to improve players, that's his job. He says he's going to do that. Joe Linton, one of the worst players I've seen in a black and white shirt. What does he do? Plays in mid. One of the best in midfields. He hasn't shown it yet, I'm not going to lie. But listen, I think he's been fantastic over the years under Eddie Howe. And for me, I mean, Dan Burn, I just think he's a good player. He really is. Emil Kraft, I mean, very solid. I think my man of the match views the games well. On Sun Hill yet again. And for me, when Shah comes in, he's going to be dropped. I think Emil Kraft's going to be unlucky, to be fair. It's going to be subbed. You know what, son? Fantastic few games, you're sub. And it's going to be unfair on the guy because I'll tell you something, right? I think he's been really, really good. But I thought Anthony Gordon was disappointed. Yeah, got burned off the ball, given the ball away, and it's a mixed bag performance by the Scouser, I can't lie. And Isak didn't really do much. I mean, one-on-one, and he fluffed his lines, but he did score the winner. But for me, my man on the match, Emil Kraft.
Okay, thank you very much, John. And before we move on to some Spurs stats, and a little bit about both seasons and what both teams can achieve before we wrap up. I do want to ask you, John, there's a question in the chat from you from Ben Lamb, who says, thoughts on the St James's Park atmosphere? And I will go around the panel and talk about this, because I think that it is a good atmosphere, and I think that it's something that it could be talked about. John, obviously, slight bias, you've been Newcastle, but where do you rate the St James's Park atmosphere in the Premier League? Like 1 being the best, 20th being the worst. You put it right up there?
Oh, 100%. I mean, we've got one of the best fan base in the Premier League for atmosphere, especially St James's Park. And away from home, we're absolutely fantastic as well. I mean, we go everywhere, and the atmosphere in the away ends absolutely amazing. I went to Forest the other night, and the atmosphere is just brilliant. But for me, I think it's a brilliant atmosphere. And when we get going, especially for big games, right? Bosh. We play close to Big Six. Absolutely brilliant. I thought the atmosphere was good yesterday, especially when we went 2-1 up, and we just lifted the place. You know what I mean? But for me, I think it's really, really good. Great atmosphere.
Yeah, okay. Thank you very much, Billy. What did you think, not only of just the atmosphere yesterday, but in general at St James's Park? Is a large part of the Spurs have struggled, do you think, to do with the intimidating atmosphere, and that's where we struggled at places like Stamford Bridge, Anfield in particular? Did you think that comes under it as a part of the reason?
Yeah, definitely. I've been there a few times. I've never seen us win there. I've always seen us lose. The atmosphere is incredible. And obviously, I'm a season ticket holder, and I want to echo what John says. I think Newcastle fans are some of the best away fans that we get. Even if they're getting beat, they sing for 90 minutes always, and they really back their team. It's obviously a one-club city. They have a really passionate fan base. What I really, really like about Newcastle, I speak as someone who's kind of involved in the same thing in the Tottenham and the THFT flags. The flag displays that they put on are incredible. They're second to none in the Premier League. I think it's War Flags, right, John? Is that the name of the company that does the flag at Newcastle? Yeah. They're incredible. They're the standard that I want us to get to.
Absolutely. I mean, we have the FA home game. I mean, the War Flags done an amazing job as well. I love speaking to the War Flags who owns the War Flags. I'd love to get on my channel one day, right? But the atmosphere in the Gallagher, I mean, brilliant. They've done good work. Flags, amazing. I don't know what is at Tottenham. So do you get that as well at Tottenham? Get the flags as well? And
yeah, we have THFC flags. I think do a good job.
Yeah.
Slowly but
club aren't as welcoming as the Newcastle. I don't think so. It's work in progress for us.
You'll get there.
Yeah, well, we hope, but Newcastle, very, very generous club, I think. But hopefully Spurs get realised, surely over time, the atmosphere is very important. But I will go back to Spurs. I've got a stat here, and Kallum, I'm going to come to you for it. The last 31 games that we've played, we've won 13 of them. We've lost 13. We've drawn 5. And in 7 attempts, we've won none against the Big Six. And only 3 out of 16 of the away games we played in, we've won. Do those stats concern you? I know we're in a rebuild. I think we can all agree with that, whether it's a rebuild worthy waiting for or worthy backing. I think he's not necessarily up for debate now, but maybe in a few months and years' time. Do those concern you, though? Because he's quite bad, isn't it? A lot of it is based off last season, but those stats are concerning for where we want to be.
Yeah, they are concerning because, I mean, I saw them stats and someone compare Ange to Tim Sherwood earlier, which I think was absolute cobblers because I think Tim Sherwood was one of the biggest bellends in Spurs in recent history. But the actual aspect of it, yeah, it does have some concerns for me, but realistically, after the dire strait that our club has been in for the last 4 years, to actually have a manager who's been there for at least a year and 3 transfer windows on the bounce, it's going to take time, and it just shows how far Spurs have stagnated over the last years under the club, not under the management. That we're working with now a new squad, theoretically. What is it? 2 people left over from, I think, 2023, 2024 sort of setup before then. Everyone else has gone out the door. All of them stats last year was based on an amalgamation mismatch of Pochettino, Nuno, Conte, Mourinho, and then Ange players. So yeah, stats are quite daunting. We haven't done very well against the top six for a long time, but I would say that the top six is probably a lot bigger now. It probably involves the top 10, so that includes your Uniteds, your Chelseas, your Newcastles, your Fulhams as well. And I don't think we've had good results, particularly we might have had one good, one bad. So when you do look at them, they are crap. But at the end of the day, we're 3 games into a 38-game season in the Premier League, and then God knows how many on the back of that of Europa League, Carabao, FA Cup, whatever other cups that nine Spurs will come up with some post-season game against Newcastle again, probably in South Korea this time or something like that. It's still early days. I'd go on stats based on the season itself. You can't look at previous seasons. It's naive if you do. You go again. It's what we are as football fans. We just want to watch the football in the here and now. If you dwell on the past, I mean, Jesus Christ, you'll end up nostalgic like Jay. Let's put it that way. But,
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
no,
them.
that's for sure. Yeah, no, it is. No, thank you very much, Kallum. Yeah, but the last question before we wrap up, and I'll just ask you, and it is about the stats as well. Do they kind of concern you in a way? And are you still fully behind this rebuild? Some people have been questioning the rebuild today.
As I said, there are questions that I have got in terms of obviously the contradictions in terms of it, in terms of what we did at, left wing and what we've done in the centre back situation. But, I think we have to really sort of see how this develops and hope that it is given time, because there has been some good, we've seen so much. I know people hate saying the terminology of it, but we've seen a lot of dead wood leave the club. And I think we're hopefully going to see Region go very soon. So I think we're being more clinical when it comes to that. Whereas in years gone by, we've just hung on to a player on the off chance we'll get some money for them. So I think that is good. I think Angie's putting together the squad he wants. And I think, we have seen some positives with regards to that. So, there are some good signs. Maybe obviously we got a bit of a worry in terms of the injuries and maybe squad depth, particularly as we are now going to be adding an extra competition within that. So, it's going to come down, I think, to two sort of areas. I think it's going to come down to how the fans deal with it, particularly. I mean, if we go into the North London derby and we, let's say, get a draw out of it, which I think would be an excellent result, then I think fans will get behind that. One of the things I think that they will turn around and do is they'll be positive about it if they can see that there is progress. And I think that's the clear part. We can be frustrated, absolutely, because I don't think the club did do enough in the window, hence why I gave it a 4 out of 10. But I can see that there is positives within that. As I said, the 4 out of 10 came because we cleared out the deadwood. We got a main striker in. Those are the two that for me, I sort of looked at, and I think actually, in terms of from that aspect, I would say that there is progress. But let's just hope in January we are prepared to add to that, because if not, I feel that's not fair on us fans who have then got to wait another year before we see progress.
Yeah, high season ticket price as well, so I could totally understand
exactly
where you're coming from. Yeah, no, I do get that. I do share that with you. January is already looking like an important window wherever you stand with the ownership. But I think it kind of wraps us up nicely for today's show, as I call the therapy show. So thank you everyone who's listened, for their questions, for their contribution, and also thank you to my panel. Firstly, Kallum, where can people find you?
No, cheers as always, mate. So everyone can find me on Park Lane Podcast, and you can find me at CallumSubs97 on X. So have a good evening, boys, and pleasure as always. See you later.
See you later.
Kallum, take care, man.
Cheers, Kallum. Thank you very much. He's gone. Billie, thank you very much, as always, for coming on the show. It's always an honour to have you involved. Where can people find you across social media? I mean, I say it every week, and I cannot make it clear enough. They should follow you already. I mean, if you don't follow Billie, just do it. Where can people find you, Billie?
Yeah, Billie T on Twitter, and then on this channel regularly as well. Looking forward to coming back on Wednesday to talk some Premier League action.
Yeah, it should be great, absolutely. So that should be a really good one. So check that out, the Premier League show, every Wednesday night, 7:30 p.m. Justin, thank you very much for coming on. It's been a while. Where can people find you?
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, the social media generally via Twitter. So I'm somebody that is happy to have a discussion. If somebody said if I've said something and people think I'm not entirely sure, I'd like to ask a bit more about it. Find me generally on Twitter or even here. As I said, I'm more than happy to come on and share my views for the love that is Tottenham Hotspur. So thank you for having us on, and I shall hope to see you all again soon. And John, take care of yourself. All right.
You too, JJ. Watch what you're doing, mate. And you'll beat us. You'll beat us so hardly, mate. I think you'll.
I'll hold you to that. We'll have you back on if we don't.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we're organised it, but no. Thank you very much, Justin. Thank you very much. All the best. And John, last but not least, thank you very much for coming on the show. But, tell people where they can find you, but also I really appreciate you coming on. Obviously, there's a lot of talks, a lot of trolls that you get, but I think that's because of the incredible work that you do with creating content, putting yourself out there and delivering for the Newcastle fan base. So I just want to say that we fully stand by you. We very glad to have you come on when Tottenham play Newcastle and come on the Premier League show occasionally. Host it, come on as a guest. So we do fully stand by you. It's not my place to speak about individual allegations, but you are always welcome here at the channel. Where can people find you as well, John, across social media?
Thank you very much indeed for having us on, Harry, and thanks to the chat as well. Apart from a couple, I'm not going to lie to you, but you can find us on John Sinclair TV. I do matchday vlogs, I do fan cams, I also do live and preview shows as well, and also as well. Can I say something as well? Quickly, go
for it. Why not?
Yeah, and as for I've seen a couple of comments in tonight with the trolls. Right, let me just be clear. Right, I'm only going to say this once. Yeah. You're not going to defeat us. You're not going to get rid of us, right? I'm here. Whether you don't like it or not, if you don't like my channel, then don't watch, yeah? But please put respect on my name, on Harry's name as well. He's got a fantastic channel going as well. And we got to work together, Harry. And all YouTube's got to work together as well. And Barney's called it as well. I'm calling it out now. Please put respect on my name, yeah? If you're going to troll, yeah, please don't do it on our channels. Otherwise, do it to someone else, yeah, but do not do it on this channel. And my guy, Craig, sums it up beautifully.
He does, yeah. Just ignore the hate, absolutely. But no, thank you very much for coming on, John. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to smash that subscribe button. It's free to do so, and it does help the channel grow. It'd be massively appreciated. We're keeping our wide range of content and guests on. We've got exciting rest of the year to come, so we appreciate your support for last month, which was August, and throughout the transfer window, where the channel gained about 115 odd subscribers. So we really do appreciate the support. Also, big up to the people listening after on a podcast platform. We love you, especially Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Music. You're the dedicated ones that listen to the end. Nothing against the YouTube lot. Also very, very dedicated. But I love the people who listen after, all different times in different countries. It's amazing. We appreciate each and every single one of you. If you are listening though on a podcast platform, don't forget to drop us a follow and a 5-star review. I'm very sorry, John, this just applies to the Spurs audience, but a massive come on to you, Spurs.
You were working as a manager at Celtic Park when we met you. We picked you out, you shook us up and turned us around. You've turned us into something new. Ange, Postecoglou, you know that we believe it when you say you're gonna change it. Ange, Postecoglou, we're the mighty Tottenham and nobody's gonna stop them. Oh, we look so fine in blue and lily white. And then he said to me, I'm from a land down under. Postecoglou, baby. Postecoglou, oh. Postecoglou, baby. Postecoglou, oh. car glue, baby. Pasta car glue, oh. Pasta car glue, baby. Pasta car glue.